Hey everyone, thank you so much for coming to our Wednesday edition of the Allyship Tip of the Day. My name is Anna and I am the Community Educator at TCC. My pronouns are she and they. And today we're going to talk about language a little bit more. Yesterday we talked a lot about pronouns and how we can introduce ourselves using our pronouns. We can ask other people for their pronouns. And the most essential takeaway is that we should stop trying to assume the pronouns that other people use and instead ask them. So along those same lines, a lot of the language that we use in everyday life tends to be quite gendered, and gendered in a very binary way. And a lot of that we don't even think about because it's just been so culturally ingrained into us. So for example, a lot of times when someone is addressing a large room of people, a crowd perhaps, an announcer might say something like ladies and gentlemen or boys and girls, and that, for instance, is a very binary way and a very gendered way to address a whole room full of people. And more likely than not, someone in that room probably doesn't fit into that binary gender that society has instilled in us or upon us. And so we should try to adjust our language to stop perpetuating this gender binary, this rigid gender binary. And so there are a lot of other ways that we can address a room of people without doing it in a gendered way. For instance, we could say things like, hi everyone, hi folks. I'm a big fan of hi friends. My friends think it's weird and they don't like it, but I really enjoy it and I think it's kind. You can also address a room full of people as they are, right? So for instance, I've talked to a lot of teachers and they like to say things like students, or more specifically, like if it's a science class, they could say, good morning, scientists. There's so many creative ways to replace our gendered language with more inclusive and non-gendered words that will make everyone in the room feel included and a lot more comfortable. And that's just a very simple change that we can all make to make the world a safer place for folks who might not feel comfortable with that binary language. Another thing that people often ask me about when we're having this kind of conversation is how to address someone respectfully in a non-gendered way. So a lot of times we use words like sir or ma'am or miss to get people's attention, perhaps when we don't know them or we're trying to be super respectful. But oftentimes this can actually be pretty damaging because perhaps we're using a word to address them in an attempt to be respectful, but that actually is hurtful and undermines their identity and in fact misgenders them. So rather than using words like ma'am, sir, miss, I still think that there are other ways, even if there's not perhaps a direct other word to capture or a gender inclusive word that we can substitute, but I think that there are ways to say excuse me very kindly and with empathy and send the same exact message of respect and kindness that we would using those kind of terms. So just by using kindness and empathy and respect in our tone of voice and with the words that we use, but just making them not be so gendered, we're able to send the same message, but we lose that risk of offending or hurting or harming someone by undermining their identity or directly contradicting it. So to wrap up this tip of the day, I think the big takeaway is that we can all be a little bit more conscious of how we're speaking and how frequently gender plays a role in the words that we use. And I think just noticing that and reflecting on the implications of that for those people who might be around you is a really great first step. So maybe noticing how often you use the phrase ladies and gentlemen, or you address a room full of feminine presenting folks as ladies. Noticing these things and reflecting on them and perhaps catching yourself a little bit and thinking about the assumptions that are made by using those words is a great first step towards improving your commitment to being an ally to the LGBTQ community. Language can be a really hard thing to adjust, and I understand that, and that's why I say that noticing these things, these patterns in speech, and the words that other people use as well. I catch it all the time now that I'm aware of it, how frequently this kind of language is used, makes us realize how harmful this might be to someone who doesn't identify with those words, and how frequently they might be bombarded with this kind of binary language and language that ascribes gender to them. So all I ask is that you walk away from this hopefully thinking about that and reflecting on that, and maybe trying to incorporate some gender inclusive language into your everyday life. So thank you so much for tuning in to Wednesday's Allyship Tip of the Day. I hope that it was helpful and beneficial, and just a reminder that I am still taking questions for the next few hours via email. You can send it over to me at Anna, ANNA, at ctpridecenter.org, and I will be answering all of your questions on Saturday in a Q&A. So thank you again for tuning in, and I'll catch you again here tomorrow, same time, same place, and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Bye.